Good morning. It is Thursday, March 18th. Oh, excuse me, man. Oh, still waking up. Jeebus. Where does the time go? Oh, man. So, it's some pretty interesting activity here in the S&P futures on the overnight session. Bear with me. I'm going to add, always changing my charts and stuff. All right, so we're looking at the S&P futures right here, and the overnight session, you can see that we tested above yesterday's high, failed, and then started to grind back within yesterday's range. Now, normally, I use something called the value area rule. And basically, what the value area rule states is that if you break out of balance, meaning you break outside the prior day's range, and then you trade back inside the prior day's value area, which we have done, you have an 80% likelihood of trading all the way through it. However, clearly the market has not been wanting to give up the long side. We've been really, really strong, despite being so topped out, so to speak, that I have my doubts. Also, because the range is so extended already. I mean, we've sold off pretty substantially, so we may get some responsive buyers coming back in here wanting to buy at a discount. And then on top of that, value is overlapping and higher relative. The overnight session's value area is overlapping and higher relative to yesterday's regular trading hours. So there's just I'm seeing some mixed signals here, and basically the bias that I came up with is either A, the shorts are gonna come in, we're gonna plow through yesterday's POC and take out the low, or and I think this is probably the more likely scenario, is we'll test lower, we'll test yesterday's low, fail, and then we'll start to grind back up within yesterday's range. Just because, like I said, we've already sold off quite a bit. The long side has still been really strong despite everything else, and yeah, like I said, I'm pretty neutral right now. I probably wouldn't be committing one way or another, personally speaking, until we either A, break through yesterday's low, or B, fail down here and start to grind back up within yesterday's range. So we'll have to see what happens at the open here. We are very close to yesterday's low. It'd be easy enough for somebody to just kind of pile on the shorts. And also, you can see that we had some really, really big selling yesterday. I mean, you can see these 200 plus lot orders all over the place. So clearly there was some very, very strong selling. You can see the delta that I have right here. This delta, it measures whether more volume is coming in on the uptick or the downtick. And the fact that it's totally red basically is telling me that despite this really, really strong spike, we had a lot of absorption yesterday. So there were lots and lots and lots of limit orders here, absorbing the aggression coming into the upside. So that being said, we know that there was definitely some very strong selling. Clearly, some people got trapped down here in the morning when we tested below Wednesday's low. But yeah, like I said, we'll have to see what happens. Right now, I'm just definitely neutral biased. So, all right. So that's what we got in store for today for the S&P. Let's take a look at some equities here. So there were a couple decent setups that I saw. This is one of them on GameStop, and right now we are in a downtrend. We are right at this trend line right here. So we have the potential for a nice trend line bounce and continuation lower. That being said, you could always get buyers coming in. I mean, like I said, the GameStop is very hard to predict because it is clearly being manipulated. But you know, I'm looking for primarily a pullback right here, like following this arrow. This arrow is just about a measured move from this move right here. So that's kind of why I picked this target. If you don't know what a measured move is, it's basically a theory that states that the legs tend to be relatively close in length. So you just kind of what you do is you draw a line and then you just move it down and you extend it from this pivot high right here, and that kind of gives you a rough estimate of where your target might go. So again, this is GameStop, and my bias is short. Some interesting things have been going on in Bitcoin. Let's take a look here. So this is a 15-minute chart, and I'm looking for a short within this symmetrical triangle. If we zoom out to, say, like an hourly chart, though, let me make my window a little bit bigger here for you guys. Bear with me. Okay. So this is a 1 hour chart, so you can see this symmetrical triangle that we have going on. So I'm just expecting price to kind of bounce back and forth within this range. This would be a short-term trade, so I wouldn't be expecting to hold this thing for very long. The reason being is because um, clearly Bitcoin has been in an uptrend as a whole, and I am expecting this thing to at some point link up with the overall trend and continue higher. So I'm basically just expecting us to kind of bounce within this range and then continue to the upside. So that's why I don't. That's why I wouldn't be one for holding this for a super long time. But for a short-term trade, taking it from 57K down to 55, I think it would be pretty decent. And also because Bitcoin is on a downtrend right now, Riot blockchain also poses a pretty decent short. So this is Riot here, and let's zoom into, say, a 30-minute. Let's go 15. Okay, so again, this is Riot blockchain. Whoops, did not mean to do that. And so this is where we're currently trading at in pre-market, and we do have, let's see, we got a trend line right here. So I'm basically just looking for continuation lower and for us to retest this low down here at 53.86. So that would be a pretty decent short. We're right at this gap right here. It may be a little bit hard to see, but we do have a gap. So I would be expecting us to come in and fill that gap at a minimum, and that should give us pretty decent momentum to continue to the downside there. So I think realistically retesting this low right here is a pretty solid trade. All right, and then last but not least, oh, actually, those are the three setups that I have for today. Yeah, I'm, like I said, I'm all ears. If anybody has anything they want me to check stock wise, by all means, throw the ticker in the chat and we'll check it out together as a group. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna kind of run through and we'll take a look at some different equities and hopefully find some setups. Actually, I just noticed here, so we got a pretty big gap up on AMC here. So you can see the end of my green line here. This is where we are currently at in pre-market. So we're very, very close to this pivot high. So it's not much of a stretch to believe that we would retest this pivot high up here at 1450 and have the potentiality for a breakout right there. That being said, let me zoom out a little bit just so we can kind of make sure we're trading correctly in the grand scheme. So this is a 1 hour, and yeah, I mean this looks pretty good. Clearly this is a symmetrical triangle here, and we've got, like I said, pretty good momentum coming up here in pre-market. That being said, volume is still pretty low. Granted, we haven't opened yet. However, yeah, I would say this looks pretty good. AMC for a breakout above 1450. All right. Um, so I had called out Zenerba Pharmaceuticals. Let's switch back to a 15-minute here. I called this thing out at like $4.17. We're currently at 5.39. We had a big spike up yesterday, hit $6, and then turned back. So realistically, if we can continue to hold this trend line, um, I would suspect that we would be able to come back up here and retest this high at $6 and potentially get a break there as well. And that's ZYNE, Zenerba Pharmaceuticals. So we are kind of midway through the move, so that's the only downside. I like getting things right at the inflection point if I can. But yeah, that being said, it's not bad. I don't like this quite as much as the AMC breakout, but yeah, it's not bad. So like I said, if you have any stocks you want me to check, by all means, throw it in the chat. Let's check it out together. All right, so this is ACB here, or Aurora Cannabis. And let me mess with this trend line here. It's a little funky. So originally it was something like that, actually. That's the more likely scenario. ALPP, you got it, and CAN. All right. All right, ALPP, or Alpine Holdings. Again, we're still on a 15-minute chart here. We've got a pretty clear resistance right here at about $4.39, and that's a fairly weak high. I mean, you can see how many times we've tested that thing. That's definitely an unfinished auction. If you don't know what an unfinished auction is, in a proper auction, you would want to see something like this, where you have a clear point of excess. You know, you've got one guy left at the very top, you know, just like you would in a normal auction. If you were at an auction for artwork or something, you know, that auction would not end until there was one guy left that was the highest bidder. And that's exactly, you know, like the stock market. You want to have the one highest bidder left. But if you have something like this, so that is known as a weak high. So basically, um, it's the it's much like if you had an auction for art or something, and you had four guys that were all bidding 10,000, and then somebody pulls the fire alarm and the auction just ends randomly. So it's not a completed auction, and because of that, just like right here, we can assume that there are more people that are still willing to buy above this level because it's been tested like this so many times. So we've got people that are still clearly thinking this thing has higher to go, hence why they keep hitting into this level. So I would imagine at some point we're going to take out that $4.39 mark. As per where we stand currently, it's a little bit mixed. We've got some horizontal resistance or support here. That being said, though, we are in a little bit of a downtrend. It's the price action is just it just jumped in pre-market, I think. I don't know if that was just my chart or what, but it just, I don't know if you guys saw that. The orange ticker, that's where we're trading at in pre-market here. No, I wouldn't, just because I don't like shorting against a weak high like that. I know, like I said, it's an unfinished auction. So yeah, I wouldn't short it just because of that weak high. I am expecting this level to get taken out at some time. I just don't know when exactly. So I would actually probably be more in favor of the long side, just because there's been so much volume traded into that level. It's got to break it sometime. So I don't know when exactly. I mean, if this will continue to grind higher and we'll get a break, or if it's going to need to pull back further and then continue higher or not. Um, we'll have to see. But yeah, a little bit mixed, at least for the interim. All right, we'll check CAN here real fast, and then we'll bust out Ethereum. All right, so this is Canon Inc. And I'm not familiar with this company. Um, it's been in a very nice uptrend. So I'm just trying to get all the price action in here so I know where my bearings are. All right, so we've got this trend line right here. Has not been retested just yet. Um, Yeah, this is a little bit perplexing. Part of me wants to say that this thing is going to continue to grind higher and that we would retest this $40 mark. But the other part of me is thinking, well, we haven't actually come back and retested this trend line yet, so it may need to come down here and get a bounce in before we can continue higher. So it's a little bit hard for me to say. It really just depends on what we do at the open here. I mean, if volume is good, if volume is good and everything on the open, then I would say sure, let's get long and look for that retest of $40. But like I said, the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is the fact that we haven't retested this trend line yet. Um, so that being said, I mean, it is a little bit of a two-tiered channel here. We've kind of got a midline running through. So it could, sorry if I can grab my stinking trend line here. It could respect that level as well. I mean, stuff doesn't always trade to the take, so it just depends. You know, and you can kind of see how it's respected this level too. We've got a little gap up right there. We've got a bounce. So yeah, I mean, it potentially could be a decent long play. Yeah. All right, so let's check out Ether. And let's see if I can find decent. All right. So Ether's in a pretty nice uptrend right here. Very clear, easy to see there. And it's kind of a rising wedge, actually, like that. So yeah, I think this is a really good setup right here. I would be looking for a bounce and then a retest of this upper, trend channel line, and then potentially a break through that level. Note that we do have some resistance up here at 1892. That's a clear resistance level, and then right after that, we've got 1943. I don't know how correlated this is with Bitcoin, like if the two tend to trade together most of the time or not. I am bearish on Bitcoin for today. That being said, though, I mean, this thing looks like it's going to respect this trend line. It's already bounced a little bit. So, yeah, I think this is a great long entry. Like I said, looking for a retest of this upper trend channel line and potentially the resistance up here at 1892 or higher. So, yeah, I figured they would be pretty correlated there. So yeah, I mean that's the only drawback is just because if Bitcoin is doing poorly, then this thing may kind of just chop around a little bit more than usual, but we'll see what happens. Let's see. Yesterday I called out, what was it? I called out this Walmart short, and that played out beautifully. Wow. So yesterday I was looking for a short here on Walmart. I was looking for a break of this trend line, and you can see right on the open, boom, huge gap down, and that thing sold off very nicely. Um, and this, I mean, it looks like we're probably going to get continuation lower. You can see we have a weak low right here. So this level, it's been tested twice right at the same price. So that again is an unfinished auction. Also, wow, I just noticed this. Look at this. That's where we're opening in pre-market. So we are in this very big low volume node now. Um, and yeah, I mean, this thing has the potential to continue to drop all the way down here to 128.50. So for any momentum traders out there, this thing, I mean, it could drop like a freight train. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes till the open here. Um, it's your lucky day. So what I'm gonna be doing today? Thanks. What I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be taking a day off from futures, and I'm going to be getting my Thinkorswim up and running here, and messing around with some options plays. So my plan for today, okay, so again on the S&P, we're right at yesterday's point of control, basically. Again, if you weren't here for the intro, so yesterday we had a false breakout below Tuesday's low. Right here, this is excuse me, here's the overnight low. We had a false breakout down here. A lot of shorts got trapped. I would imagine we didn't get the momentum because FOMC was coming in later in the day. So we got this false breakout. A lot of shorts get trapped, but you can see we had a really big selling still throughout the day. The overnight session, we tested just above yesterday's high. That was a failed breakout as well, and we're grinding back within yesterday's range. So as it stands, we're going to be opening up in yesterday's value area. I am expecting the market to chop. Um, we've already sold off quite a bit. Some of the, longer time frame buyers may think that price is at a discount, and therefore they may look to re-enter at these levels. So I think what we'll probably do, we'll probably test yesterday's low and potentially grind back up within yesterday's range. So it's, yeah, like I said, it's either gonna go, it's gonna go 1 of 2 days. Either we're gonna test lower, fail, and then grind back up within yesterday's range, or somebody big is gonna come in. We're gonna break through yesterday's low, and we're gonna sell off pretty hard. So if we look at the longer term chart, we are right at a trend line. Get my line tool out here. So we do have this trend line here on the daily charts. So if this trend line breaks, we're probably gonna sell off pretty hard. So we'll just need to see what happens here. I mean, as it stands, it seems like yesterday's point of control is holding. So I think we're more than likely just gonna chop around in yesterday's range. So that is my bias for today for the S&Ps. All right, guys. Well, we got 2 minutes till the open here. I'm actually gonna get my Thinkorswim up and running here and mess around with some options today. So also note today I will be posting. I have a mentee of mine that is a really good options trader. And he's been coaching me a little bit. He gave me a little bit of I mean, I've traded options before, but this guy's way beyond anything I was a couple of years ago. So he was kind of getting me reacclimated to it, and he was just kind of taking me to school. So I'll be posting that on my YouTube channel later today. Same title, the trade journals, and it'll say something like watch an options trader coach a futures trader or something like that. So cool. All right, guys. Well, we got 1 minute till the open. I'm gonna get out of here. Trade smart today. I wish you guys the best of luck. Yeah, absolutely. So, in any event, I'm gonna get out of here and watch what happens at the open. Like I said, we're opening in yesterday's value area, so it's likely to chop. So, just know that moving forward. So, awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks again so much for tuning in. Appreciate it. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And yeah, take care.